I want to welcome all of our champions. Nikki, Lee, and I, we are thrilled to have you join us for building the dream team you deserve. Everyone touch your heart and say, I deserve.
Deserve it. I deserve.
Yes, you do. And it's about teaching you how to elevate your hiring process. So today, Nikki and I, we are committed to empowering you with the tools, with the strategies, and inspiration to transform your hiring process and to build a team that not only shares your vision, but elevates it. How many of you want more of that? Say, I do.
I do.
Well, you're in the right place at the right time. So, champions, I'm going to be starting us off today. I'm Lauren Gartland, the founder and CEO of Inspiring Champions. It is my greatest joy and pleasure to be joining all of you today. We take your time very seriously. And in March, I'm happy to announce that we will be celebrating 30 years of transforming tens of thousands of lives and businesses in the salon industry. We are so proud of all of the lives we've had the opportunity to touch, to inspire, to equip with tools to take their lives and their businesses to places they never imagined possible. It has been the greatest journey. And today, our journey is with you. And we take your time very seriously. We have no intention of wasting it, champions. So what I would like for you to do is I want all of you to go to the chat box right now. We were going to keep you very engaged today. You are going to need paper and pencil or pen. You'll be taking copious notes. This is going to be interactive. So you will be engaging with us today, just like we're going to be engaging with you. So I want you to go to the chat box and share with us, champions. What are you noticing? What are your biggest challenges and struggles finding your dream team? We need to hear from you. And so Meadow or Nikki, if you can please let me know what you're seeing in the chat box, I would greatly appreciate that.
Absolutely. Let me kind of dive into that a little bit more, maybe to help guide your thinking a little bit. Have you guys been hiring actively and coming up against challenges in the process of all of that? Or maybe how long has it been since you've evolved your interview process or actually taken a look at it and seen how it meets the workforce today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Very
we've
good.
got
Thank you, Miss
Jeanette
Nikki.
saying that they just opened in June, so still new to everything, looking for guidance. Melissa says visibility and reach to potential new hires.
That's a challenge.
Excellent. Well, Jeanette, it's Jeanette, I believe. Is that correct? Jeanette?
Yeah.
She is going to get amazing value if she hasn't even started the hiring process. This is going to definitely launch you into doing it correctly. But wherever you are in your career, whether you are still waiting to open those front doors or whether those doors of your business have been open for 50 years, you are in the right place at the right time. And so we want you to know that whatever your challenges are, whatever your struggles are, these are valid. You are not the only person that are experiencing it. But what we want you to know is that this is your time to take control, to attract the right people, and to create a dream team that helps you and your business soar to new heights. I want you to see 2025 as your year, champions. So get your paper, get your pencil ready, because you will be taking a lot of notes, just like I said a minute ago. And remember that recruiting the right team, it's a continuous journey. It never stops. Goals evolve, circumstances shift, and the team members come and go. We have to really be real with ourselves and know that rarely do those who start the journey with us remain until the end, especially if you're in this for the long run. And that's okay. And that's where we're going to come in today, champions, with easy, proven systems to help you bridge the gap and to build the dream team you've always envisioned. So let's dive in, champions, because your dream team awaits. Are you ready to get started? Say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Woo, here we go. So I'm going to be launching us with who's on your team. Who's on your team? And we're going to start with who are the 3 types of individuals that you can hire? Because to get you started, you must have massive clarity of where you are now. And to do this, I'm going to give you a very simple but powerful exercise. And the first part of the exercise is we have to determine who is on the team and which of these 3 categories are they in. So our first category is we can hire eagles. Eagles are visionaries. They are driven. They are proactive. They soar above the rest. You never have to go to them and say, hey, there's this great class coming up. Would you like to go to it? No, you'll go to them and say that and they'll go, oh, I already bought my own ticket. They don't wait for things to happen. They make things happen. They are very positive. They possess the skills, the mindset, and the attitude to literally elevate your business and to take you and your team to new heights. How many of you have some great eagles on your team? I hope every one of you have an entire team of eagles, but normally this will be about 20% of your team. Our second is your potential eagles. These are your emerging talent. They have the ability to soar with the right guidance, the right training, and time. These are people who are waiting to be developed. These are people who are waiting to be brought up. And I'm going to demonstrate this with a true story. So there was a teacher, a high school teacher, and she had a student whose name was Rual. And Rual skipped school all of the time. Rual was going into was in his senior year, and she knew that he was doing drugs. He was selling drugs. He was in a gang. He was partying all the time. His grades were all F's, a couple D's, and he was failing. One day she asked Raul to sit down and talk with her. And she asked him a simple question. And I want all of you to listen carefully to this story because it creates a clear picture of the importance of understanding these potential eagles, because this is a great majority of the people that are going to be coming to you. And the question she asked Raul that day was, Raul, do you want to go to college? And he looked at her and he said, ma'am, nobody in my entire family, as long as we have existed on this planet, has ever gone to college, and I don't suspect that I will either. And she looked at him and she said, I didn't ask you that. I asked you, do you want to go to college? Rual lowered his head and tears were streaming out of his eyes. He looked at her and said, yes, ma'am, I want to go to college. And she said, Raw, if you will stop hanging out with the gang and the people in it, if you will stop drinking, doing drugs and selling them, if you will allow me to tutor you for free, I promise you, Rual, if you give me your very, very best, I will give you my very best and you will go to college. Will you do that? She said, there's no compromise. If you do any of these, we're done. Can you do that? And Rual looked at her and said, yes, ma'am, I can do that. Rual, F's turned into all D's, to all C's, to all B's, and a miracle, all A's. He not only graduated from high school, which no family member had ever even graduated from high school, more or less college. Not only did he graduate from high school, but he was chosen to be the valedictorian. What an honor. What a breakthrough. What a miracle the two committed human beings made happen. And not only did he graduate from high school, he went on to college and became a doctor. Something nobody could have imagined. He changed the course of their entire destiny. He changed everything for their entire family. He broke every generation curse and showed what was possible. And I'm telling you, you got these people coming to you every single day. Potential eagles. They're looking for not a good, not great, but an extraordinary leader, a mentor, someone that edifies them, that builds them, that teaches them the skills, that teaches them what they need to become the best of the best. That means it can't just be you working behind the chair and the only thing they see is your back, or in the treatment room, hidden behind a closed door. They need you. You have to be ready. Unless you're a booth rent or solo suites and you're not hiring, then it wouldn't matter. But potential eagles are everywhere in your life, and you want to look for them because you can be that teacher to them. She changed not only a life, but an entire family, an entire community, and quite honestly, the world, because she saw something in Rual that he could not even see in himself. So I want you to think about who are the potential eagles on your team. And then this third type, these are the chickens. So chickens, they have victim mentalities. They will never, ever, ever, ever take responsibility for what's not working in their life or in their business. They will always point the finger. It is always somebody else's fault. They will never take responsibility. They are unmotivated. They are unwilling to grow. These are the people that are stirring the pot. The negative Neds, the negative Nellers, the bok, 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 bok. They're always complaining. They're always murmuring, bok, 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 bok. They're always looking for you to be the lifesaver, to make things better. Chickens will never take flight. They will never contribute to your salon or to your team's success. They want to remain that. And so what I want all of you to do right now is I'm going to give you a quick success work. So I want you to write this down, and you can wait until the screen is done and take a picture. But I want you to know you're all going to have the opportunity to get this recording and 12 pages of handouts with all the exercises. So the first thing you have to do, team, is we got to make a list of all your current team members. Who are all the current team members, and make a list of them. Now, if you haven't hired yet, this is the perfect place to be so that you do it and do it right. But most of you have team members, and I want you to write them down. Then what I want you to do is identify if they are a chicken, a potential eagle, or an eagle. And what I'm going to tell you to do is trust that gut instinct. Whatever that first answer is that pops into your head, go with it. That is usually the right and the best one. Number 3, once you identify, do I have a chicken, a potential eagle, or an eagle? Remember, those potential eagles can be brought up, but I'll tell you what, if you got a chicken on your team, woo, they are going to pull those potential eagles down, because chickens like to scratch with others. They don't want to be alone. Eagles are alone. They soar higher than any other bird. Number 3, you're going to evaluate their contribution. What impact do each of your team members have on you? What impact do they have on your team? And you're going to assign a score for each of them. So for each person, you're going to assign a score, and I'll show you in a minute what the score means. From 0, 10 to plus 10. So here's what it's going to look like, champions. Whoops, let's get my slide up here. Okay. A +6 to a +10. This is someone who will help you achieve your dreams. This is someone who will contribute greatly to you, to your business, to your goals. These are the ones you want to keep on your dream team. So when we look back at those 3 categories I just talked about, which category does this one fall in? Go to the chat box. Which one is this?
Eagles, Melissa.
That's
said.
right. Good answer. These are your Eagles. All right, champions. Now, 0 to +5. This is someone who will probably not contribute to your dreams. Who could this be? Doesn't mean they show up on time, they do all the right things. They're just not the go-getter like an ego. They're just not proactive. They just do what they need to do to get by and to keep everyone happy. So who would this be?
So we've got a couple guesses, a potential eagle or a chicken.
No, it's not the chicken. It's not the chicken. This is your potential ego. You are accountable for bringing them up to be an ego. You will be their greatest hero. You will be the person that transforms their life, their business, and their DNA. You are going to be that difference maker. Now, -10 to -1. This is someone who will hinder your progress. They won't contribute to it. They're going to hinder it. Who would this be?
Chicken.
So we have, yeah, go
That
ahead.
is correct. So we've got to remove them from the team. You got to remove them from the team. Most of us at one time or another have experienced a virus in our computer. We all know how horrific that is. It is a huge breakdown. It's a massive setback. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. And guess what? A chicken is a virus to your business. They will take out some of your good people. Some of your good people may leave because they can't fathom living another day with this chicken. They bring energy down. They bring everything down. We've got to get rid of them. Now, for our employee-based salons, you have to do this correctly. You have to know what the HR guidelines are for removing a chicken. Because what you don't want is the labor board on you. What you don't want is things, you got to be prepared. And so this course is not about how to do this correctly. It's about giving you the steps to get you hiring the right people. But I am here to tell you, if you got a chicken, you got to have the courage, you got to have the strength to get rid of them because they will take you out. And all of you have let go of a chicken. And what does every team member say to you when they leave? What do you hear? Go to the chat box or say it out loud if you're off of mute. What does everybody always say to you? Thank you.
Always, always. They're just like,
Always. They're grateful.
do everything, you know, it's all of a sudden the culture shifts immediately.
Exactly. And that really shows you, the difference they make in a negative way. So now, champions, great news for you. You are going to be getting 12 pages of what I'm going to be taking you through today. As I go deeper, you're going to go, oh my gosh, I have got to have this. And so don't miss it. So I'm going to tell you. So in it, it's what I'm covering, but a gazillion times more. It is giving you your ideal team member shopping list, is giving you all your keywords. It is giving you the 15 questions you will be answering in vivid detail to create your ideal team member vision statement. These 15 questions are unbelievable. You would never think of them yourself. I'm giving them to you as our gift. And then we're going to teach you your deal breakers. Then I'm going to give you an example vision statement so you can really see the power of a vision statement and how anything missing will be left out. You're also going to be given self-assessment tools. There's 3 pages of those where you will create an assessment for the team member when they come in to literally assess themselves and for you to assess them after your interview. So this is our free gift. It's your roadmap to attracting the perfect fit for your salon success. It's also going to give you access to the live recording you're watching today, so you can go back and rewatch it, and your free step-by-step guide to building the team of your dreams. So it aligns with your values, with your vision, with your goals. We want you to have that as our gift. So now, champions, I am going to go into the next step you have to take. Once you know who's on your team, once you have identified what category they fall in, now here is the next step. Again, people are going to come and people are going to go. You don't want and you don't need to hire everybody. And I know that when you are bleeding, when the business is bleeding, when the chairs are empty, I know that you literally will take almost anyone with blood running through their veins. I just need bodies. But I want you to think back. The past is always the best reminder. The past is always the best indicator. I want you to think back when you hired someone and you knew in your heart, you knew in your gut, you felt it, it resonated through your entire body that this was not the right person. I want you to ask yourself, did they work out? Did they become your ideal team member? And my hunch is the answer from most or not, if not all of you, is no, they didn't. Follow that gut instinct. And then I want you to think about the time when you just knew, oh my gosh, this person is amazing. They are so amazing. You just felt it. It oozed in every little vein of your body. I got an eagle. I got a winner. Did they show up big? The majority of the time they do. It's not to say all the time, because sometimes people fool you in that interview process. But what I'm here to say is hire slow and fire fast. Take your time hiring, and Nikki's going to be talking about that. My goal right now is to give you the most important step to get you started. And without this, you will be making many mistakes. I've seen it over and over. So let's talk about step 1 you're all going to be taking is you're going to be writing a vision statement. And some of you may be saying, wow, what is a vision statement? Well, anyone who knows me knows I write a vision statement for absolutely everything. Everything. For my cars, for my house. I wrote it for my husband, and I married him 3 years later, just like I said I would. For your ideal team members, for your ideal client. You need to know it for everything. But here's what a vision statement is. It is a detailed blueprint of your ideal team, the team that you want and you desire. It is your vision of the perfect team member, and it's brought vividly to life on paper. So when you're crafting a vision statement, it will guide you in identifying those exceptional people. It will create a clear, vivid picture. Think of it like a trailer of a movie. It's not showing you the whole movie, but it's showing you the greatness that's to come. Oh my gosh, this is going to be the best movie. I got to watch it. It's your trailer on paper. And without a clear written vision statement, you lack clarity, which is the number 1 reason for failure, lack of clarity. You lack clarity, and you risk settling for whoever shows up instead of building the team you truly want. And so I'm going to tell you, before I go into this, another quick story about myself that's going to craft a vivid picture for all of you of how important, how essential a vision statement is. So this is one thing that happened in my life that it was a bad thing that turned to a very good thing because I realized what I was missing. And it was when the early phase of Inspiring Champions, I had a 2-bedroom condo. And my first 2 employees were Oscar and Randy, and they would come to my condo every single day to work. Well, before you knew it, the entire condo became an office. There was no more home. It was an office. My drawers where the clothes were supposed to be became file cabinets. So it was ridiculous. It was time to spread our wings and fly. And so I said, okay, we have 2 choices. We can look at an office building. I don't think that's the affordable thing to do right now. Or we can find a house that I can go rent, and I will make sure it has the quarters for me to be by myself and have my own space. And it's going to have bedrooms that will turn into offices for everyone else. And they were like, yes, that's a great idea. So that was what we decided to do. So Oscar came to me and he said, I have found the place. And so he took me to this house. We walked through the front door. I walked in. I looked around. I went, nope. He goes, could you at least look at the house? Yes, I'll do that, but I am telling you, this is not it. So we walked through room to room, room to room. Nope, 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 nope. Boom. Next day, I found another place. I know you're going to love this place. This went on for 2 months. Day after day, week after week, constantly looking at house after house. Finally, he comes to me, he goes, oh my gosh, now I think I know what you want, and I have found it. I have found the perfect place. You are going to love this. So we drove over to it. We walked in. I walked around, and I could see we were making progress, but I went, nope, this is not it. And I will never forget that day. That man, he stuck his feet into the ground. He pounded them into the ground, and he said, woman. And I'm here to tell you, anytime a man says woman, you know they're not happy. And he said, woman, you are going to have to settle. And I looked at him and I said, no, we teach all of our clients, never settle for less, never sell out, always get your ideal. And as those words were coming out of my mouth, I was like, oh, I didn't write a vision statement. Oh my gosh, that's the problem. Next day, it was the week of Thanksgiving. It was Monday. I walked up to the apartment, to the condo complex I was living, and I gave my 30-day notice. I got on a train to go up to LA for Thanksgiving. And on the way there, I spent those 2 hours writing, crafting my vision statement. And on that vision statement, it was detailed. Anything left out will be left out. It had to be 4 bedrooms minimum, 3 for offices and 1 for me separate. In my bedroom, it had to have a huge walk-in closet. Every woman needs a huge walk-in closet. We walked in, it was going to have a living room. Now, the bedrooms, I said exactly what size they had to be because I knew what needed to go into them. So I wrote down exactly how many square feet each bedroom had to be. It was going to have a beautiful living room with a fireplace. It was going to have a dining room. It was going to have a kitchen. It was going to have a family room with a second fireplace. The whole back of the house was going to be windows that looked out onto beautiful scenery, mountains, greenery, palm trees. It was going to have a swimming pool. It had to have a 2-car garage, one side for my car, the other side for our warehouse. It had to have a minimum of 3 bathrooms. I wrote this in vivid detail. I could taste it. I could feel it. It was like a part of me. I went back to San Diego. I showed it to Oscar and Randy. They laughed. They said, my God, woman, if this did exist, you're never going to get it for the price you wrote down. I said, not only am I going to get it, I will be moving in there on December 30th because I already gave my 30-day notice. You know, the first motivational book ever written, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, he said, you got to be willing to cut all sources of retreat. And that's what I did. I broke my lease. There was no turning back. And here's what happened. I gave my vision statement to people. You share it. You have to share the vision statement with people you respect, people who will get behind you. Don't just share it with any person that's going to say, oh, you'll never get that. Good thing I didn't listen to them, because here's what happened. In less than 24 hours, I got a phone call from a woman. I had no idea who she was. She goes, is your name Lauren? I go, yes. She goes, I'm looking at your house. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, I was given your vision statement, and I'm telling you, I'm looking at your house and they're putting a for rent sign in the front yard right now. I said, how do you know it's my house? She goes, I've been to at least 25 parties there. I am telling you, it is your vision statement. I said, oh my gosh, run over there. Tell them to take the for rent sign on. I'm on my way. Give me the address. I drove over there. I walked in and I walked into a big, beautiful living room with a fireplace. Next to it was a dining room. To the right of that was a huge kitchen, and next to the kitchen was a big family room with a second fireplace. The entire back of the house was windows from floor to ceiling, looking out at mountains and a swimming pool and nature. There was a 2-car garage. It had not 3, but 3.5 bathrooms. It had not 4, but 5 bedrooms. It had not 1 walk-in closet. It had 2 of them in my bedroom. Now I'm going to ask you, why? We spent 2 months looking for this place. How was it in less than 24 hours? We found it. Go to the chat box. If that doesn't create a strong picture in your mind of the power of a vision statement, I am not sure what will, because this is essential. And that's why you got to get those handouts. So I'm walking you through those 15 questions you've got to answer. So champions, we're going to talk about the 6 essential rules for crafting your team member vision statement. So here we go. Get ready. Step 1, you got to create a shopping list. So I want you to think about this. Every one of us, every single one of us at one time or another have gone to the grocery store when we are starving. We're starving and we don't have a shopping list. Well, we all know how well that goes. It takes us a lot longer. We spend a lot more money than we have to. We buy things we don't even want and need. We're there forever because we got to go up every aisle and make sure we don't miss anything. And it's very costly. Well, I want you to consider going shopping for your dream team is when you're starving without a shopping list is the biggest mistake you will ever make. It will take you a lot longer. You're going to get a lot of the wrong people, and it's going to cost you a lot of money, because I think we can all agree that hiring is one of the most biggest expenses of your business. And so here's what you're going to do, champions. You're going to take a piece of paper and you're going to draw a line down the middle. Now in your handouts, it's already in there. So if you want to just start doing this right now to get a sense of this, that would be great. And then what you're going to do is on the left side, you're going to write at the very top, what I don't want. And the past is a great indicator. You look back at all the people you've worked with in the past, all the people you've hired in the past, and you think about the people that maybe didn't completely repel you, you just knew you didn't enjoy working with them. And think about, what were their attributes? What were their mindsets? What were their qualities? What did they lack? What was it? So I would love I'd love as many as possible to go to the chat box right now And just put in the chat box, what are some things you are absolutely clear you do not want in a dream team member? What are you clear you don't want?
Sonia says laziness,
Yep, no one likes a lazy person. People that
gossip,
are late. What else you see in there,
Gossip.
Meadow?
gossipers, heroes, victims, negative attitude. And
Yep.
if I'd like to say as well, if you're trying to access the chat box and you're not able to, you need to accept your panelist invite. I'll send them out again, and that way you can participate. Or you can come off mute.
Oh,
if you're
thank you
not.
very much. I appreciate that, Miss Meadow.
Oh, I like this one. Sonia also says divas. And
Okay, got
resist
it.
change. They're just flooding in now, Lauren. Like they're just flooding in.
Okay, good. I'm sure we should be seeing a lot of them. If you're able to read them real quick, that would be great.
Yeah, resist change, not hungry or driven, not committed, not looking for someone who is overly people pleasing. I think we do our best work by setting boundaries. Love that. Knows
Okay,
it all, not a team player, closed-minded. I think I'm incompetent,
nice.
unreliable.
I mean, when you make this list, make it as long as you can and go to the past. Let those people just go into your mind and wow, what am I clear? I do not want to duplicate. I don't want to replicate this. Now on the right side, oh, we love the right side. We just love the right side because this is what you do want. This is your shopping list. This is your ideal shopping list. Have a party with it. Everybody go to the chat box, write down, what are you clear you do want? You cannot use any negative words in there. It can only be positive. So if you say, I don't want a diva, you got to think about what's the word that's the opposite of that, which is what you do want. If you say you don't want someone who is lazy, what is the opposite of that? That describes, because remember, words create a picture in your mind. And the clearer the picture, the more you're going to move towards your vision statement. So we got to really, really select the right word. So what are we seeing in the chat box, Miss Meadow?
Nothing yet. I think they're still thinking.
I think
Okay,
they're
Jeanette,
busy writing them down on the
Yeah.
paper, which is fantastic. I
And here they
love it.
come.
That is
Yeah.
fantastic.
That's right. A good pause is a good thing sometimes. So Jeanette now
Okay.
says motivated, loyalty, knowledgeable, constant learner. Like
These are
that.
good. These
Very
are good. Think of the attributes of an eagle. Think of, again, the past is a great indicator. Think of the people you really loved and enjoyed working with. Think of your best friends. Think about the qualities, the traits, the people you really enjoy being around. What do they possess that you know you want in an ideal team member? And so that should be a really, really, really long list. Now, remember I told you that all of you are going to have access to 12 pages of these handouts. You're going to get a private My account. And in that My account, it's going to give you instructions. You're going to go to the tab that says Elevate Your Salon Business. Elevate Your Salon Business. And in there, you're going to get two gifts. 2 weeks ago, Nikki and I did a training on you've had a salon walkout. Now what? It was amazing. We got rave reviews. You're also going to have access to that free recording as long as this and all the handouts. And so champions in that here, just to stimulate your brain a little bit and know that all of these words will be in there. Here are some words that really talk about performance and achievement. These are great words, but what you have to remember is often we attract people who are a mirror of us. So if you want to attract someone that is all of these words, you have to hold the mirror to yourself and say, am I this? Sometimes we can be our own biggest problem. Sometimes until we change, they may not. You know, we have a salon owner that has the most amazing team you can imagine. And when you go on to their social media, they're just having fun. They're having fun. They look like they're collaborating. They looks like just unbelievable teamwork. And yet behind the scenes, when we lift the hood of the car up, the owner is killing them off. They're leaving not because of the unbelievable training they're getting, not because of the extraordinary environment they have. It's got all the things they want, but the owner isn't walking the walk and talking the talk. And so here's some more for you to think about. These are words that describe personality traits. So we want to look at, okay, well, what are the words I want on that? And, we actually, as we look at this, we have to take a hard look at ourselves. Where do I need to step up? Where do I need to make change to attract these type of people? Another one is, here's other descriptive words, and these are great. So remember, when building a team, you always want to look for people who love, everyone say love, to win. And if you can't find any of those, then doggone it, you search for people who hate to lose. You deserve winners. You deserve champions. You deserve eagles. So if you missed it the first time, champions, get your phone out right now. Don't miss it this time, because I'm not putting it, it won't be up again here, I don't believe. But this is what's going to give you access to these 12 pages of handouts that put what I have up here to shame. It's like so step by step blueprint. You are going to love it. Now, what I want you to keep in mind is that writing your vision statement has important parts to it. So let's go over those. So after we write our shopping list, we got our shopping list. We know what we're going shopping for. We know we have our blueprint, our ideal. Now what you have to do is it's time to actually write the vision statement. And when you write it, we always say at Inspiring Champions, you can't just think it, you must ink it. You got to get it out of your head and on paper. It is not a vision statement in your head. You can't share it with someone from your head. You can't think it, you have to ink it. When you ink it, you write it in present tense. You phrase it as if your ideal situation already exists. Not I want. I want means they don't exist. It's something you're hoping for. I have. I am enjoying the most spectacular front desk person. Like, write it. I have my ideal esthetician. I have my ideal nail tech, rather than I will hire. The next thing we got to do, it's really important you write it in present tense. As you're going through and writing out your vision statement, you're using the words from your shopping list. And you want to start your vision statement with my ideal team member is ... When I wrote my vision statement for my husband, my ideal husband, best friend, and soulmate is, and I proceeded to type up 2 pages in a 12 font. And 3 years later, I married my vision statement. It works for everything.
He's wonderful, by the
You
way.
want to make sure you highlight as you use the words from your shopping list, highlight them to ensure by the time you come to the end of your vision statement that you have incorporated and used all of your words. You're writing it like a story. You're writing it like an article. It is filled with descriptive details. Details are the foundation of your vision. Again, the mind thinks in pictures, and it needs specific details to make the vision appear real before it happens. So you got to describe the qualities, the skills, the attitudes that you seek in that ideal team member. And the more specific you include, the stronger your attraction to drawing in like a magnet. It's almost like a magnet drawing them in. It blows people away. And remember, anything left out, anything that remains uncolored, it will be missing. So this is going to be a work in progress. You have to date it. So when I did my vision statement for the house, I dated it that I would be living there by January 1st. That was when I had to be in. Well, actually, it had to be by December 31st because I gave my 30-day notice. And like you all saw, I moved in on December 30th. And by the way, it was $1 less a month than what I wrote in my vision statement. And so I want you to know in doing this vision statement, you'll need one for a hair designer. You'll need a different one for an esthetician. You'll need a separate one for a nail tech. You'll need a separate one for a front desk person. Now, this is all in those handouts you're going to get. You'll need a different one if you're hiring a manager. They have completely different needs. And so you never want to put down hiring 5 people at one time. Start with one and date it. When do you want to get the first one by? And then you've got to keep it visible. Place your vision statement somewhere where you'll see it daily. And every time you read it, you want to think, feel, and envision it as though you already have achieved it. You got to see it in your mind. You got to put it on paper before you'll ever achieve it in your life. See it, believe it, achieve it, and start moving towards your goal. And so champions, oh my gosh, is this good or is this great? Now this is step
Fabulous.
one. So we have given you some incredible exercises. One, list all your team members, identify, are they currently? You're not looking into the future, what they could be currently, like right now. Are they an eagle, a potential eagle, or a chicken? Just identify it. Then you're going to categorize them from -10 to +10. Then you're going to do your shopping list. Then you're going to take that shopping list and you're going to craft your vision statement and use the questions that are in those handouts. But I want you to know this is the start. We've got a short time. I'm going to be turning it over to Nikki here. So 2 things, champion. 1, if you need help, I want you to, here's my QR code, and schedule a complimentary strategy call. I'm here to help you. That's what we do at Inspiring Champions. We are a family, and families help each other. Because you're on here, you're instantly part of my family. I'm committed to transformation. I'm committed to getting people to their finish line. And if you need help, you know you can't do it on your own, then call us. I'm there for you. Nikki will be through. We're here for you. In addition to that, champions, is, this is just the part of it. But at Cashflow Camp, the greatest part of Cashflow Camp is you have your vision statement. But guess what? When you go into your group of 8 people, you get to hear 8 other vision statements. How many of you believe you will glean things you didn't think about? How many of you believe by hearing others that yours will go deeper and stronger? And then what we don't have time for today is your next step is once you have your vision statement, know what you want, you need to understand and know the steps to take to now craft your wow ad. I am telling you this is like the biggest breakthrough, and that you'll be doing that at Cashflow Camp. You'll be writing that there. If you don't do these things now, that's up to you. But you come to Cashflow Camp, you will be doing them. You can't show up the next day without your homework done or you get a significant fine. So you get to do it. You're guaranteed to do it and get the help of other people. And so champions, again, you got your gift from us. And with that, Miss Nikki now, one of my absolute favorite people on the planet. I have grown so fond of this extraordinary woman. She is not only brilliant and beautiful and powerful, but what an extraordinary leader. She lives and breathes the word leadership. Clarity. She has more clarity than anybody I've ever met. Vision. It's unbelievable. You're going to love her. And so with that, champions, I want to say thank you for allowing me the privilege to do this part. I'll be back again at the end for a short time. And I just want to ask real quick, if you have questions, could you please put them in the chat box? So any questions, if you would put them in the chat box, we'll be looking at getting to questions towards the end of our webinar. So Miss Fabulous, Amazing, Gorgeous Nikki Lee, are you ready?
I'm ready. Thank you
All
for that.
right, let's do it. Give her a big hand, everybody. Let's hear it for Nikki.
Thank you
All
so
right, you
much.
can always, if you can't clap, this is like, woo, a high five. All right, Miss Nikki, take it away. I'll let you do a screen share. I'm going to stop mine.
So, everyone, that was amazing, Lauren. Thank you for walking us through that exercise. And it was just so powerful. And I love, I have to be honest with you. I've met Lauren's husband, and Mr. Todd, is quite the man, quite the catch. And so it works. It works. I guess I better do a vision statement too,
Oh, and by the way, Nikki, the house we're living in that you stayed at, that was my vision statement. I had never written a vision statement for a house that I was going to buy, and you saw it. It's gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Oh my God. It's like a sanctuary is what it's like. It's a dream. So I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much. All right. So let's dive in. All right. We are going to, who's ready to turn the brains on? Is everyone's brain really on 100%? I need you guys to completely lean in.
I got them warmed up for you.
I need you guys to totally, why am I, okay, there we go. All right, guys, here are my handouts. All right, does anyone have anything to say at this point, or anything to share with Miss Lauren, or anything at all? I was taking notes diligently, and we are going to come at this from an HR perspective, which is, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Nikki Lee, if you guys don't know me, and I am a business coach. I also work with champions, and I come from a very strong HR background. I've been a salon owner for many, many, many years. Been a leader for more years than that. So, 35-year career has had every form in every single thing. So hiring and interviewing was one of my favorite things to do. And I know it seems to be not everyone's favorite thing to do these days. I keep hearing everyone's sort of miserable about it, or that they don't enjoy it. But I really want you guys to enjoy interviewing. I really want you to dive into it. It's like, think of it like dating. And I know some of you have been dating before. You're like, I hate dating, but don't hate dating. It's just meeting people, and it's getting to know people, and it's finding your team. And I'm hoping to give you some processes and some structure around innovative interview exercises and interview concepts these days. Okay. All right. So Lisa, you had a question. If our team is 80% there, is that okay? Obviously, many are still very young and not been brought up to fully appreciate our values and need to learn to be an adult. Lisa, was that a question that you needed to ask Lauren, or was that something that we can address at the end?
That's fine. I just wanted to know if we have these, I'm setting up some pretty high expectations, and I'm feeling like I'm looking for unicorns right now.
Well, you got to aim high. Number one, it's okay to aim high, but again, remember, hire eagles or potential eagles. Never hire a chicken. And the wow ads we teach people to write are literally designed to kill off chickens. Chickens won't apply with the wow ads we teach you to write. And guess what? If a chicken squeaks through the wow ad, in your cash flow camp, you get the first interview form is 5 pages. A chicken will never complete it. They'll walk in and look at it, or you'll send it to them, and they'll never show up. So we got to do our due diligence to kill the chickens off at the beginning, to not even let them in. But with our first interview form, trust me, they will never, ever, ever complete it. And they did you a favor.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so let's dive in to design an interview process that is modernized in today's HR trends. So I hear a lot of people say a lot of things online. I monitor a lot of groups, and I get to be contributors and admins on some groups. And so I really love being on those groups because it gives me a lot of feedback from what saloners are experiencing. So I try to stay on that so I can stay on top of it. And by the way, guys, this guide, you don't need to take photos of it. You don't need to, I'm going to be sharing this with Meadow so she can send this out to all of the attendees afterwards. So I am sharing this guide with you. There is obviously a much larger part of it that we'll be doing at Cashflow Camp that we'll be diving into. We're taking some things from there and putting into there. But today I wanted to share with you what was really pertinent and really just kind of dive in. If you have to leave the webinar, this will be recorded and you will get the recording of it. So no worries there, okay? But traditional hiring practices are definitely being replaced. This shift that you feel, don't feel negative about it. Don't feel positive about it. It's just neutral. Be neutral. It's emotionless. It's business. It's HR shifts and HR trends. I know it's very hard to not have emotion around things, but when we infuse emotions into things, when we're just trying to vet people or understand what somebody brings, and we're not presenting ourselves in a positive way, it's like going to a date that's, you're already negative about it, right? We don't want to do that. We want to meet people where they can see we're selling our salon, we're selling our business, we're selling our leadership, we're selling what we have to offer, and we're selling our opportunity for a career in our salon. I don't want you guys to think of it, in reverse, where I know back in the 80s and 90s when I first started doing hair in salons, we were lucky to have a job. We were lucky to keep a job. If our boss told us we had to, go clean the bathroom, we did it begrudgingly, maybe, but we still did it. And we didn't say no, we didn't refuse. The shift is a shift of power that's happened in our workforce. And we are, just like a real estate market is either buyer or seller, right? Strong. In our industry and other industries, we are in a competitive workforce. And when we are in a competitive workforce, things have to change. And interview processes is project number one. And so this is why I told Lauren this is a very important topic to really address. And this is why we're really bringing more of this information to Cashflow Camp, because it's really for owners and leaders and managers, and they really need this kind of information. One of the things, there's 4 core shifts that are happening here. I want you guys to see this is a very transformative shift. First of all, digital technology is starting to take over in interview processes, in onboarding processes. There are platforms that will make your life so much easier. I work with a very amazing HR company. I'm very lucky to be able to work with them. And they have this system called the RPO system. It's basically their recruitment and hiring and onboarding and interviewing process. They vet through 400 job boards, all of your ads, and they have a very systemized approach, and they have an applicant tracking system. This is what I mean about digital technology is starting to take over. If you guys are not learning about these things, you're going to fall behind in other salons that are doing it, that are recruiting very successfully, because they're using technology like this to their advantage. Things like Connect Team and all of these other type of HR platforms. Also, we need to design. How many of you guys, raise your hand and put in the chat, have you designed a customized guest experience before? Has anyone ever done that? Have you guys sat down and designed? I know if you're an Inspiring Champions client, you have. But if you haven't, it's time to really write down your guest experience, because you're going to train from that tool. Well, just like you do guest experience, you also have to write down what we call a candidate experience. And what do you dream up? Just like the vision statement for the ideal candidate, you want to make sure you are designing what the ideal candidate experience is going to be like for anyone who's applying with you, from the time they hear and see about your business all the way through to onboarding and beyond. Also, the next experience that you should be designing a vision statement for is what we call your employee experience. And there are many components of it. I will dive into that very deep at Cashflow Camp. We don't have enough time today to dive into it. You can certainly research this more or get signed up with coaching. We can start working on building that out, which includes compensation ecosystems, benefit packages, training systems. All of these things are all part of policies and procedures, are all part of your employee experiences. And then how interactive do you make your interview process? Is it stagnant? Is it one-sided? Just giving somebody an application or asking them to just sitting there barking questions at them and asking them to engage in these questions, you're not going to really learn the real them. It would be like going on a date and sitting there and asking 21 questions to the person that you're on a date with, and they don't do anything except, answer you. There has to be interaction and engagement. And we all have to try to do it so that we can actually get to learn who they are and what they're about. Okay, so there's a couple things that I want to hit on really quickly with you. And remember, you're going to get this guide. So don't worry, just kind of listen in, all right? So the first thing to do is map out the candidate experience that fits your brand. So what does your brand represent? Are you a brand? And this is a vision statement, again, a concept as well. So, like one of my dear salon owner friends that are on here, she has this very cool colorist vibe. Her salon is color strong. So her entire interview process needs to be driven around color services. So that is what I mean about personal branding or candidate experience around that. If you're going to be hiring for front desk, that's a different candidate experience. If you're hiring for an assistant that doesn't bring a book of business or perhaps doesn't bring any clients, that is absolutely a different experience, right? So that's an assistant experience that has a new hire strategy that's built around that. So you can't just design one interview kind of style and then go into it and just sort of ask generic questions. You got to be very specific about what you're looking for each team member. And that's why I think the vision statement exercise with Lauren was so proactive. The next thing you want to do is you want to establish an interview map. I'm going to share what that interview map looks like. It's on this guide. At Casual Camp, we will actually demonstrate the interview map, and we will demonstrate what we call the interview flow. So I'm going to be on stage and I'm going to do a demonstration, and we're going to share with you, and we're going to ask questions. It's going to be an incredibly interactive experience so that, you're going to get over your fear, because I think there's a lot of fear around interviewing. A lot of times when I'm talking to salon owners, they're like, I don't even know what to say. Like, what do I ask? She's telling me she wants this and he's saying this, and then they just don't really understand kind of what to do and what to say. It's because you haven't prepared. You have to just prepare ahead of time, and you'll have the questions. You'll have all the things that you can send them. You'll have the digital links you can send them. You'll have all of the questionnaires, and I love questionnaires for interviews. It's one way to make your interview experience more interactive. The next is to create a hiring page. How many of you, by show of hands, if you can go to chat, have you created a very detailed hiring guide or a employee experience layout on your website? How many people have on their website such a detailed layout that they can just click on it and they can see, oh, so phase 1 is to interview like this, and phase 2 is to do this, and phase 3 is this. And then once I'm hired, I'm going to be training for this part. And then what does the pay structure look like? And what does the career ladder look like? And all of those structures, a lot of other industries do. But for some reason, our beauty industry hasn't caught up to that yet. And so I'm really trying hard to get everyone caught up from an HR perspective in that way. This is really through coaching, to be honest with you. There's a lot of moving parts of this, and I'm happy to work with anyone and coach anyone through how to set that up. The next would be creating job descriptions. We'll be going over job descriptions because job descriptions are really establishing the groundwork and the foundational pieces to what you need for your person, for what you're hiring to. So for example, like front desk or assistant, there are certain job descriptions that go with that. And we have a template that we'll be sharing at Casual Camp and all of that. But job descriptions, be specific about each category and each department. I would encourage you guys to start departmentalizing your salon. But I think it would be very, very effective for you to say front desk department has this job description, has this career ladder, has this pay structure, and has this type of employee experience. The next is you've got to work on your compensation package. It is over 50% of the job in your interviewing. If you cannot answer compensation questions with absolute confidence and clarity, you are not going to be a strong candidate for an employer for that person. That is what they're looking for. And the olden days where we would be like, if somebody asked me about pay on the first interview, I'm not hiring them. That is no longer, it doesn't relate anymore. It's now changed. So that shift is, and why, to be honest with you, logically speaking, why would you want to waste your time if in the first conversation that they don't agree to your pay structure? So have non-proprietary, not proprietary data, but non-proprietary compensation data, which means that it can be publicly seen. The stuff that cannot be publicly seen is proprietary. That's for after you hire them. But while you're doing the interview, you need to have pieces of your compensation package. And this is my specialty lane. I'm doing a whole 3-hour segment at Casual Camp about compensation and how to set up your compensation package. but having a very attractive, beautiful compensation package to show everyone you will be a standout. There's nothing better than that. And by the way, don't we all work for money? I know we work for other things too. I know we want to be happy and we want to find a good place to build a career. But if we took away the compensation part, nobody would work for you. So, I mean, it's vitally important. You want to make sure that I would recommend you create a really gorgeous PowerPoint presentation or a guide presentation of what's special about your business. So highlight all of the key features. What makes you special? Just like you wrote down what you're looking for and attributes from a candidate, you should write down what makes you really special. And we'll dive into that next. And then you're going to create a PowerPoint about what you're offering, about what's amazing to be part of your company, why you're different, why you're a standout. And I'm telling you, people will flock to you like bees to honey, because candidates are desperate for that these days. They're desperate for that kind of clarity and that kind of information. You also want to develop a very, very detailed and comprehensive, what we call skill simulation or an audition process. You can call it audition. You can call it a skill simulation. I call it a demo day. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but it is, and I will walk you through what that looks like. And that is what we're going to be demoing at Cashflow Camp in person throughout the entire process. We're going to walk you through that whole entire situation about how you lead people through what I call interview flow, and then lead them. And this should be about the second or the third interview. It should not be the first interview. So it's important to kind of do that. Now, you should also consider having training for students. So having internships, or meaning have paid internships for potential new hires to come in and intern with you for a period of time. It's one of the best ways to really get to know a candidate. And sometimes the interview process, you think you know them, and then when you get working with them for 2 or 3 months, it's not really the same. So it's really an amazing way for you to get to know somebody a little bit better. And I would absolutely encourage you to consider diving into a candidate applicant tracking program from a digital perspective. These are, in my opinion, 10 of the most important things you can do to set your business up for more success and recruitment. All right, so this next page is, I know it's kind of small to read, but I promise I'll send it to you. So just listen in. I'm not going to go over every single one of these. This is for you to look at. This is a handout. This is where when I coach salon owners to be better interviewers, or managers or leaders to be better interviewers. The first thing we have to address is compliance. So these are legal guidelines to interview questions that are compliant issues. And every country is different. Some states have different things, like, for example, in California, there might be some different ones as well. So again, just look at your state and see what it is. But this is a federal list. This comes from the Departments of Labor, and this comes from the IRS. So this is a federally compliant list, and I've gathered all of that data together for you. Let me dive in. So you'll see at the top, this first section is questions that an employer cannot ask. So it is against rights. It is not appropriate for an employer to ask these questions and ask them in the way that I've explained here in each one. So for example, you can't say, how old are you? That would be age discrimination, or considered age discrimination. But instead, you can ask another way. You could say, how long have you been in the beauty business? Or tell me how many years of experience you have. So again, you can ask questions like that. So again, I gave you ideas as to how to ask around it, but still be compliant. Then the other is questions that could be considered offensive and need to be evaluated, and if they're needed. So some companies, like for example, if you're being hired for a bank, needs to ask you about credit and financial information, right? But a salon owner is not going to need to do that unless the person is at the front desk handling money. If the front desk is handling money, then you need to ask financial questions. You need to also do a background check and things like this, because you don't want to hire somebody that has something that is a historical data about that they were sued for embezzlement or something like that. And that's actually happened to me. So that happens, guys. So just know that you need to stay on top of that if you're letting anyone handle money or things like that. Okay, so these are just some of the areas around those kinds of questions. Please read through. It's a handout. We're not going to dive into it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Please put any questions in the chat. Meta will let me know. I also see the questions. All right, this is going to be, I saw someone ask the question, which is, I think it was Tyrone, you said something about, I'm not sure what we're offering, right? Isn't that what your question was earlier? I saw something earlier. Struggling to find qualified. The challenge is looking appealing. It was Jennifer, to get interest in applications, whether on Insta or school. Well, let's talk about what makes you appealing, because I think that that's where you should start. So we shouldn't just start tomorrow, like let's recruit, let's start to interview, right? It should start with, how do we build our offerings so that we're beyond attractive? So the first thing you need to address is, what do you need coverage? When do you need coverage the most? So that is going to be the first, obviously, order of business, right? Because typically if you're going to hire, you're hiring because you need somebody to do a job. So there's going to be some coverage issues. So here are some questions that will help you identify what that is. And so this is a guide that you can download, use this as your guide in order to do the prep work. So, and again, most of my coaching clients, we walk through this. This is like a 2-hour call that we just sit there and we break all this down so that they truly understand what it is. But these questions will help guide you and give some clarity around it, guys. So you need to identify how many clients you're turning away first. Because a lot of people, the first thing is that saloners say to me, well, how do I know if I can afford them, you know? And then the moment I go back into, well, why are you hiring then if you don't know if you can afford them? So let's go back into, what are you hiring them for? Well, I'm hiring them because I'm turning away clients. All right, well, how many clients are you turning away? Let's look at that. I don't know how many clients I'm turning away. So let's track that. Let's just get to the desk. Let's put up a procedure where everyone can start to track how many clients they're turning away. And then we're going to add up all of that money. So we're going to say, and by the way, when you track, it needs to be the name of the client, the phone number, the date, the time, the desired service, as well as the dollar amount, rough estimate of what that service would have been. You know, it's not going to be exact, but it'll be close. And so we can now add up. I have done this so many times, and I can tell you it's always stunning to see the amount of money that's being left on the table because you don't have enough coverage. Now, if your issue is not coverage, then this is not something that you need to address as heavily. There are other businesses that coverage is a major issue. So you just have to look and see what your business needs, right? Once you have that data, then you'll know what hours you need to hire, what you're willing to pay, what your budget is. It will give you a lot of answers right there with that question. All right, so Len, you need to look and see, what are the hours that you, the owner, if you're behind the chair, want to remove off your book. So if this is the case, what's that transition going to look like? Are you transitioning? Do you need somebody to train for 3 months in order to teach them the skill that you have? So you need to hire someone that's a stylist, is willing to be an assistant, right? So all of this is what I'm talking about. So again, these are a lot of conversations that we would have inside of coaching. The next is going to be, what service skills do you need and how much training are you willing to provide? And how much are you willing to pay for that training? And because you will be investing in people if you do that. The next is going to be, what can you afford to pay? That's in your budget. And you need to come out of the gate with this answer. So this cannot be a vague, like unknown thing. You need to know exactly what you're willing to pay for the person, and you need to know the new hire strategy. You need to know if you're going to have a signing bonus, and it can't be like reactive and nilly-willy. There needs to be a budget set out for this. And so if you're opening a new salon and you're still in the process of funding, one of the best pieces of advice I can give to you as a coach would be to say, make sure you have enough funding to support payroll for at least the first year so that you can pay at the rate you want to pay. And there's going to be 3 levels of pay rate that you will need to decide to go to market with. It's going to be at market, which is kind of roughly where everyone is. And this is nothing more than demographic search in your area. If you search that, it'll tell you this. Like, what is the average hourly rate for an entry-level job in my area, in my zip code? That answer will come up. You'll start to see that number. So let's say that's $14, but yet you can afford to pay $12. That means you're going to be paying at under market, not at market. And maybe some of you are like in this place where you're like, I need someone desperately. I am desperate. I need coverage. It's a major problem. I'm turning away people. If that's the case, then I would categorize you as up market or pay above market, which is that you have to pay higher than what the norm is so that you can recruit people. And also in that strategy, you need to identify what levels of pay you're going to bring people on and what are those qualifications and those skills. I call that the new hire strategy. We will dive into that very deeply at Cashflow Camp. That this is, again, not a webinar topic. It's way too deep and it's very, very personalized per business. The other would be, what is the hourly scale? Oh, we already talked about that. And the level entry level hourly rate. How long will this hourly rate be in effect? And what is the process that you have in place for this to be raised? This will be a question, absolutely, in your interview process that you need to answer very clearly. What are the immediate benefits that you can offer? Benefits that you don't give right away, those are called that's called a vesting period. You need to know how long your vesting period is, or are you offering some benefits up front as a big piece of recruitment bait? So like 20 hours of PTO, paid time off, or a signing bonus, or something like that. That's going to be a big benefit right up front. And then what are the dates that you need people by, and what are the times and all the things that you can tolerate to wait. So those are some questions that I would ask. Do we have any questions? I'm going to pause there and to see if I think we have one question. Meadow, if you missed the QR code. Okay.
And Jeanette had asked, I have one, but could use guidance on how to make it better. I think that was she has has what she needs, but is just looking for guidance to tighten it up.
Yeah, Jeanette, I think that this process is going to really explain that for you. This guide is going to give you a lot of value. I would tell you though, I would engage coaching with it for sure, because a lot of times it's going to be specific to the salon. We need to be very specific to the salon. It's a very customized situation. And Tyrone, you asked which job board should we be using? Any and all. So there is no particular job board that is the other. Now, it's like fishing, right? Recruitment is like fishing. So if you're on a boat and you decide to go out at 4 a.m. because that's when the fish are the most plentiful, then you're going to get a lot more bites if you go out at 4 a.m, right? But if you wait until like 5 p.m., it might not be as plentiful. So you got to plan strategically about when you're going to be posting. So timing is also very important in recruitment. So it's not necessarily the job boards that you're choosing, it's which ones are your workforce habiting most. So Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, these are the 4 cores, and also Pinterest are the ones that your workforce is on all the time. But I would say there are over 400 job boards that most HR companies attach to, which means that you can select from over 400 job boards when you work with a recruitment company, or work with a HR company that has an applicant tracking recruitment process, that they can actually take your ads, take your job applications, your job descriptions, and lay them out into multiple other categories. And then most, not most, a couple of the HR companies actually do what we call a preliminary vetting interview, which is going to be very important for you guys to adopt that process. There needs to be a preliminary vetting interview. All right, let me zoom out a little bit. So this is what we call a job offer blueprint. You got to know what your job offer is. So we assess the business needs, and now we got to put together the job offer. This is just a blueprint for it. This is the layout. So get your pay plan in place, discuss any time off PTO, benefit packages. Are you going to give any signing bonuses? How aggressively are you recruiting? Training and education plan. What is that plan for who you're hiring? What does the leadership infrastructure look like? Who will be leading them? That's very important. Introduce them to the leaders throughout the interview process. Engage them in that way. People are very scared these days. Young people, they want holistic, enjoyable work experiences. They don't want to be bossed around by bitchy people. They just don't want that. And so that's going to be very important to show that you have a beautiful culture that's very nurturing and very happy and joyful. And yeah, is it tough sometimes? Sure, it can be tough too, but it can't just be only tough. It can't be a misery, right? That's just not how the workforce responds these days. Then what does the environment look like? What does the stations look like? What does the setup look like? What's the equipment like? What does the color room look like? All of that kind of stuff is important. And then the clientele, what is that like? People want to know, are you going to help me build a clientele? What should I expect there? Should I be bringing any clientele? You should be asking those kinds of questions. So this is part of a job offer. This is a sample job offer letter. This is basically a template. So this is where when I coach my coaching clients and inspiring champions, we walk through this process of doing such a beautiful job. We're going to be introducing this to the inspiring champions. They have such gorgeous interview templates, question templates in their manual for Casual Camp that I'm so privileged to have a chance to really dive into and really elevate and add my own 2 cents into. But this is one of the things that I really want to add to the manual, which is a sample job offer letter. So just like at Casual Camp, they go deeply into designing out an incredible wow ad. And it is so much fun to watch the audience do this. It's just been incredible to see what they come up with. I mean, like mind-blowingly good stuff that I was like, give that to me so I can use that. I want to gather all these job ads, these wow ads. But once you advertise, once you get them there and you're ready to give the job offer, you better have a strong offer. This day and age, a job offer is not an option. It's kind of a necessity. So this is an example of somebody that would be coming on as hourly, that this is their package, basically, that you're giving them. There will be a signing bonus. So we've broken down into 3 phases, front load PTO, this many hours, et cetera, et cetera. So you can see some of the things on here. Again, I'm not going to dive into that, but you can see what this looks like. Do you all agree with me? Give me a show of hands, guys, or just chat and type into the chat box for me, please. Do you think if you had a very detailed job offer to give a candidate that you are ready to hire, do you think that it would help them make the decision a little easier?
Yeah, some yeses, some affirmative in the chat.
Okay. All right, good. All right, how's everyone doing? I'm going to take a temperature check. I know I'm throwing a lot at you guys, but I want to give you a ton of value. So, all right, everyone doing good?
Yeah, Jennifer says something really interesting. I feel that most people are not doing this, so it will really make you stand out.
Right. That's amazing.
Amen.
That's amazing. Right. So here are the 4 steps of the interview that I feel are very important. Why do I feel like it takes 4 interviews? Because, I mean, how many of you guys maybe some of you have dated and then you got married after 1 date? Maybe some of you did that. But I certainly think that's probably not a great way to go. In average, you're not dating and finding the one. You're trying to find a team of people. So we want to take our time. We want to hire a little bit more carefully. We want to be a bit more competitive. We want to make sure that we're taking our time to get to know people. It's very important. If you're bringing someone on to be on your team, you got to really understand what they're bringing to the table. And even then, even if you really understand, I don't know if you really learn everything about them in that process. You guys agree with me on that? So in my opinion, there are 4 categories of interview information that you need to gather, right? So let me zoom in. The first interview really is about employee mindset, coachability, and understanding, is this a good fit for your company, right? Get to know me. I'm going to get to know you. Are we a good fit? What's your mindset like? So do they understand the definition of an employee? What are their work ethic beliefs? What are their career goals? What's the contribution definition? How do they define contribution? Ask them these types of questions. So we have entire interactive exercises. I'll show you an example of 1 or 2 of them so that you can see. How I like to do that is, instead of sitting there asking questions, is when they come in for the interview, I'd like to give them this questionnaire and say, please fill this questionnaire out that addresses all of these topics so that I can see their answers to this questionnaire. So we'll be providing those interactive exercises at Casual Camp. It's not part of this webinar, but certainly if you engage in that, we can get you access to those interview exercises. I've spent years building those things out, so they're very much proprietary data, but at the same time, you can build your own as well. Ask the questions around that. You want to make sure, do they understand performance? Do they understand what a KPI is? Describe the KPIs to them. So, some of you are like, I don't even know what KPIs are myself, so that you don't get coaching, so you learn. So what is productivity? What is retention? I saw yesterday on Facebook, there were 3 people that asked questions about, how do you teach people retention? Well, the first thing is ask them their definition of what client retention is in the interview process. So you can see if they actually even understand what that means and understand the importance of it. And it gives you the opportunity to really explain why. Why is this important for the first interaction? Because this sets the tone for the rest of the path. You need to set the tone. It's very important to set that tone correctly. Prior influences, work ethic, moral compasses, what's their integrity level. There's a lot of tests and questionnaires that you can give people on that, and we have a whole setup of that. And then what is their follow through like? We want to know what their we're watching for that kind of follow through. This should be about an hour long. I would recommend that you consider a preliminary interview right before this as what we call just a pre-screen or pre-screening. A lot of HR companies are doing that these days. They're doing it either virtually or on the phone. So they'll get people to just, get on a FaceTime or do a Zoom. I love Zoom for this purpose because you can record it. And then when you see that, it's a really good way for you to you can even send them the questionnaire questions ahead of time via email or text, and then you can just send them a link and they can just fill it out. This is where digitally you can start to get you can learn a lot about the candidate beforehand, before they even come. I know a lot of times owners are like, I can't even get them to show up to the first interview. It's because that's normal and natural, guys. Don't take it personally. A lot of times people are just applying to 10 jobs to see which one bites, because a lot of salons or a lot of companies don't even respond back. I mean, that is actually very commonplace. And so we don't want to be that company. We want to immediately reach out. And I would say from the time they apply for the job, you should immediately within 30 minutes, if possible, maybe an hour, but no longer, not a day or two. That's too long. It needs to be immediate, that you reach out to set up a quick conversation. And then I like a virtual video resume. So I'll say, and if somebody doesn't want to give a resume these days, I'm totally good with that. So yeah, Ruby, you call it the vibe check. So that's just kind of, we just want to get to know you, hey, are you cool? We're not cool. Are you serious or not serious? And then that way we can vet out all this unserious candidates, the ones that are just applying just because they just want to, see if you just see something, then just get rid of them. It's fine. Again, don't take it personal. Remember, out of every 10 or 15 candidates that jump your way, you might only end up with 1 or 2. That's normal. So, in the world of recruitment, don't have unrealistic expectations that for every interview you set up, you're going to have, the things like that. So again, keep that as one of the lighthearted ways of doing it. So I send them a list of 4 or 5 questions. I ask them to make me a video. And if they do it, then I move them on to the next phase, which is interview 1. Interview 2 should be about 1.5 to 2 hours. This is where we really dive into some personality tests. I love doing the Enneagram test at this point. Lauren, you guys Inspiring Champions, it's a great personality test there. You guys will talk about that. I want to look for social relational intelligence at this point. I'm looking for signs of sociability, ability to engage, ability to have conversation, communication skills. This is where I'm going to lay out the non-negotiables. Compensation should come in preliminarily. Okay, the preliminary conversation of compensation needs to happen in one of these things. And then you can say, we can dive deeper if you make it to the, future parts of the interview process. In the past, what we do is we would say no conversation about compensation until the end. And that's totally okay if that's what you prefer to do. But a lot of times you do need to pre-vet just people who just aren't okay with your hourly rates or your new hire strategies. You just don't want to waste time if that's just not okay. Third would be skills, qualifications, and competencies. This is where I'm going to lay out a lot at Cashflow Camp. So I, again, gave you a guide that you can fill out here. And then I will walk you through those processes at Cashflow Camp. This should be 6 to 9 hours at minimum. This is a full day. They're not paid for it. They're not your employee yet. They are auditioning, just like, I don't know how many of you ever went to an audition where you were an actor, or you went to a stage performance and you were auditioning. Do they pay you for that? No, nobody pays anybody for auditions. You're auditioning for the job. You don't have the job. And so we're looking for qualifications, competencies. We're looking for initiative. And I'll show you a pre-interview step-by-step layout that I created that you can use to give to the candidate to prepare for their interviews. So it's very, very detailed. So what you're looking for, you guys can certainly change the things you want to change for them. Sometimes it's 2 days. For somebody that has, Giancarlo, yes, it is legal for you to audition somebody without a pay because it's an agreed mutual agreement, meaning both of you agree. So you're not forcing them to come, alluding to the fact that you're going to pay them and hire them and then asking them to work without pay. That is not what you're doing. You're saying part of interview process is that you come and audition for us to see if you got the job. We have 6 or 7 candidates auditioning for this job, 2 candidates auditioning for this job. If you want the job, you'll be part of this, you'll do the demo day.
Nikki, would you agree, Nikki, that if they don't like that and say, well, I expect to get paid, wouldn't that just kind of instantly qualify them to be a chicken?
Correct. Disqualify them, don't move them on. That's very simple to me. And by the way, anyone who wants a job, who's serious about it, would never have a problem because it's treated as a shadow day where they want to learn about you almost as much as you want to learn about them.
Yeah.
And that's how I would present that. The other thing that I would say about that is this is an opportunity for them. Giancarlo, to answer your question really quickly, if you would like to have an acknowledgement form, that's fine, but they're not an employee. So you can't require that they sign anything if they're not an employee yet. So they can certainly voluntarily sign it if they choose, but this is not something, you just need to say it up front right away that this is an unpaid thing. You know, and there's a lot of other industries, by the way, that do this all day long. People do doctor residencies for an entire year for no pay. So, you know, to make sure that they get the job and to make sure that they're doing things. So in this industry is, you know, really kind of, you know, strange in some of their practices. So I just, you know, again, we need to make sure. Now, if you choose to pay somebody for that day, that is completely okay. I'm okay with that. Like if you want to pay for that, you can say you'll get pay if you get hired, and then I'll add that day to your first paycheck. You can do that if you would like. But again, no one is an employee. How will you pay them if they're not on your payroll? They have to fill out a W-4 form. They have to fill out I-9s. They have to fill out all this onboarding form for them to be put on payroll. They have to onboard onto your payroll. You can't pay them. There's no way to really pay them for that. And I would just explain that to them. Now, do you want to give them a swag bag with some cool, fun gifts in it as like a thank you? That's a great idea. I love that idea. So you can certainly do that as well. All right. So number 3, these are all the areas that we want to address in what we call our demo day. Giancarlo, did I answer that question for you? If you just give me a thumbs up if I answer that, okay? And then number 4 would be work-life integrations. At this point of this interview, you have probably already made the decision that you're 99% sure you're hiring them. And so we want to make sure now we're now connecting work-life balance. We're addressing all the things. I want you to treat this interview almost like a goal setting. So not a performance evaluation, a goal setting. And so there's key topics to address in that. This next thing is just, we have so many questions. This is just a basic template for questions. You know, Lauren and I was talking about, should we include questions? Certainly, I just gave you a couple of questions in here. This is only the beginning of it. In the manual of Cashflow Camp, there is like detailed summaries of questions. But what is really important to me about questions is not the question itself, but how you're assessing the question. So when we are absolutely vetting somebody with the right question, so why ask a question unless the question is incredibly meaningful to you? So there has to be a very deep purpose behind it. So this is an example of a training form that I use to train leaders or salon owners to do interview questions. For example, one of the questions could be, can you tell us what you know about your company, our company, and what attracted you to our company? This could be a question, right? So you note the answers. So as you're doing the interview, you're going to note the answers. You're going to let them know that you're noting the answers. And then this question shows preliminary research and initiative. So again, when you are trying to train someone else to do interviews for you, creating these kind of templates for your managers or your leaders that are doing interviews would be very important, because they need to see what you're looking for by asking that question. Agreed? Just give me a thumbs up if you like that. Okay. So again, we want to talk about why that is. Melissa, I did an audition day with the last 2 stylists I hired. It was incredible for both of us. They learned what our salon was like before they started. Yep, that's perfect. Yeah. Thanks, guys. All right. The next question, this is just, again, 2 samples of questions that I broke down. But this is like, here at Salon X, it's important to us to truly know and understand each member's story. Please share yours with us so that we can know you better. Then when they're ready, say, is it okay if we share our company story with you? And if they're a really good candidate, they already know the story, or maybe they've already been researching you a little bit. So they already kind of have some background information. So it's a great question for you to see that. So again, this is note the answers below. And these are some thoughts on why you would want to ask this question. Okay. All right. Now this is a form that I created. This is a gift for you guys. You don't have to download it. Meta will absolutely send it over to you post webinar. So this is what we call an interview prep sheet. So this is where I give it to them to prepare for their interviews. So you can send this to them via email, via text, give it to them in person. I don't really care. Just get them what you're looking for and some of the things that you want to make sure that they are seeing, that you are seeing. So, all those things that you just did with Lauren about the, the amazing vision statement about who you're looking for, take those qualities that you put on and put them in here. So these are the things that mean the most to me as a salon owner. I want work ethic and reliability. I want ability to, build client relationships. I want problem solving skills. I want all these things. And so I'm going to give some guidance in here about what they're looking for. So I'm going to prep them on it. I'm going to say, take this home and prep for your interview in this way. This is what we're looking for. I know some of you are like, well, why do you want to prep them? Don't you want to see the natural thing? No, you want them to be confident. Most people are going to be authentically who they are, and they will absolutely come with full authenticity. They will. I mean, every once in a blue moon, you might get people that are a little tricky, but overall, everyone really comes very authentically. All right, 4 interviews. Interview 1. This is pre-screening interviews and discovering mindset and coachability. This is just an example of a template that I'm going to share with you. I have like 20 of these. So these are different questionnaires, different things, the way we do it. But I wanted to share this one because it was very important to me. This is one of the major important ones that I really, really need to understand. And I spend at least 10 minutes talking about this conversation, and I engage them in this conversation. The first is, what is your definition of an employee and employer relationship? What would an ideal relationship between you and I, or an employer and you, look like? And so that I want them to write that question. Why writing versus speaking first? Because I am a strong believer that in written communication, you have the time to think it through and you can process the information. So if somebody comes early for an interview, which I love, as I'm sure you do as well, I give them this so that they can sit down and just do this as a preliminary interview interactive exercise so that I can take this back, and then it opens up the conversation to talk about what this is important. In this day and age, it's very important, as confusing as self-employment and as employee status is these days, you really need to make sure that anyone that you're hiring understands that they are being hired on as an employee, regardless of how they're paid. Everyone in this industry thinks I'm going to get paid commission, so I'm not an employee. I get to do and come and go as I please and do what I want. That is not the case. As an employee, you're an employee. You act like an employee, and then it gives you the opportunity to define what that looks like from tax.
Hello.
So,
Hey.
All right. The next would be a career goals worksheet. I saved this one in here because I felt like this was a very important one to share with you as well. Like I said, at Cashflow Camp, we'll be sharing about 20 other of these in a package. But these are just where I can really see what their career goals are. Let me zoom in for a little bit. So this is just some questions that they can just check and see what's important to them. And this gets the conversation started, right? And engage in a different way, in a more interactive way. And by the way, people love to talk about themselves. People love to dive into things like this because they want to share information. So there's more that goes into interview 1, but I think you have enough information from that to see. Number 2 is getting to know each other and aligning our career objectives at this point. Here's where I break into an Enneagram personality test. This is a QR code for that. I have them QR code it, have them take it, and then share with me the results of that. You can even have them do this before the second interview in preparation for it. You can also do a social skills and relational intelligence as well. And then you want to create, at this point in time, a non-negotiable list, just like Miss Lauren was saying earlier. At this time, it's important that they understand where your non-negotiables are. And it's completely okay. Have that written down and address it. Want to say things like, these are golden rules. You cannot break these. This is absolutely the things. And again, your list might look different than mine. So just use that as a template, and it would be a good thing to share. Interview 3. This is where you have skill simulations and timing assessments. Let me say this, guys. This is critical if you are hiring someone to be a service provider. If you are hiring someone to not be a service provider, it is not as critical. But if you are hiring somebody that you're willing to open up your book and put your clients and your brand image and your name on the line and let them represent your brand, don't you think it should be a little bit more well vetted? Just like when I was starting to come on board with Inspiring Champions, and Lauren loved me and I loved her because we knew each other socially. But that doesn't matter when you're really talking about representing brand. I mean, I was representing Inspiring Champions with their clients at their events. And in doing that, I had to forego a rigorous outline and engagement process with Deborah and with Randy and with Lauren and with the team and everybody. That is necessary, right, Lauren? Because how in the world can you let somebody represent your brand if you have not understood what their skills are first, right? So, and it's more than just about skill level. It's not about, it's also about timing. It's all about confidence. It's about understanding where you can open their book up to produce revenue for you. It's actually a revenue producing decision to do that. And yes, should you open up somebody's book for the services they're 100% confident in, that they get a score of 10 on? Absolutely. Should you do, you know, a training program and design a training program? Yes. On the fourth interview, if training is needed, you'll give them a list. These are the services we will open your template for. These are the price points that you're going to be set at. And these are the skills that you will not be open for, services that you will not be open for, that we have to train you first for a period of time. We're going to go for 3 to 6 months. Here's a training contract. This is the value of this training contract. And therefore, this is why, based on your skill simulation, we've discovered this to be the case. Do you agree? Do you not agree? Do you want the job? Do you not want the job? Right? So again, don't bend your standards in this way. Make sure that people are rising to your standards. I'm sharing here a new hire audition checklist for you. This is what you share with the candidate. So this is what I want them to be aware of, and I want them to come prepared for. And this is what I want them to bring, and this is what I'm supplying for them. So then you guys can change whatever you want to change. You can supply everything. You can, I would also recommend only one model, not multiple models. And I would also recommend mannequins for the rest of it, because you don't need a client's perspective in that. You need to just have them, they're nervous enough. You're just trying to check skill, and they need to be doing multiple services. They don't just do one service, they do multiple services. This is why it takes 6 to 8 hours to do. All right, so this is kind of a layout here. At Cashflow Camp, we will break this all down on stage in detail and walk you through the process of what these demo days look like. And again, we break it down into categories. So shampoo services, how long do I want them to spend on shampoo demo? Yes, a hairstylist that is going to do color has to shampoo. I need to see what they're doing. Basic front desk skill. This is, again, even if they're a stylist, I want them at the front desk doing some cross training with that. Retail demo, inventory demo. You may or may not want them to do that, but I would certainly do a 15-minute introduction to it, because I want them to know it's part of their task list to some degree. If it isn't part of your business, then you don't have to worry about that. Color work, if they're applying for a color position, at minimum 4 to 5 hours of color work. And then I put little dots in here for you guys to fill out the things that you want them to test on, so that are important to you. Is it customized? Sure. If they say they're a balayage specialist, you better believe they're going to be tested on balayage left and right, right? So styling, there's at least 4 or 5 or 6 techniques of styling that I want to see that they're able to do that. Thermal styling and all the others. This is, again, if anyone's doing cutting, if they're going to become a cutter, I need to see all different kinds of haircuts. This is at least 90 minutes, if not 2 hours. Salon maintenance. And by the way, if they can't do a haircut in 2 hours, that should tell you a little bit about their skill level. So I'm just saying. So they should be able to do a senior level hair cutting that wants to take clients right away, should be able to do at least 3 haircuts in that time. Okay. And if they can't, give them more time. Salon maintenance, this is where we walk them around for 30 minutes and demonstrate what is their task and their responsibility list, and what is the salon's, and how do we handle that. So it's all handled in the conversation at the interview. Social media, we talk about why that's important. And then interview 4 is the final logistics. We invite them back. There's typically a job offer at this point. And this is the template that I use for what we call work-life integrations, or interview 4. We discuss your first year plan overview. So we lay it out month to month. I want to know exactly how long. I want them to agree that this is how it's going to lay out. And those are personal conversations. In coaching conversations that I have with salon owners that are doing this, this is what we walk through. Compensation plan, all the things about compensation that you need to discuss, like from benefits to pay to commission to new hire strategy to signing bonuses to all the things. Weekly schedules, time off. If they have any time off requests at this point, I'd like to know it. And then I'd like to put it in there. Any pre-onboard checklists that you have, we will dive into onboarding a little bit at Cashflow Camp, but onboarding is like a whole thing. And Meadow and I will be working on onboarding for the future too. And then education and training plans. This is where we present to them how they'll be trained and what value that will be set at and what their commitment level should be, any customizations, and any experience for the first week. So I like to create a magical experience called the Experience Week for their first week. I like to schedule them for every single thing in their first week. They don't work. I don't like for anyone to take clients the first week. I like for them just to acclimate, to get pampered, to do a photo shoot, to get makeup done, do a makeover, get extensions that they want. I don't really care. Do it all. I want them to be like, oh my God, this place is amazing. And I'm into it, right? And red carpet style, guys. And so then at that point, we can then say your schedule will be this. And if there's anything that in pre-onboard phase that they didn't do already that you needed them to do, like the policies and procedures or any contracts or anything like that, you have a whole week to just complete all of those things. All right, so that's kind of an overview of the 4-step interview process and some of the important things. My time is up. So I hope you guys enjoyed a lot of that and that got a lot of value for you. I'll go ahead and pass this back over to Miss Lauren and Meadow. So please, any questions? If you guys have any questions, put them in the thing, or if you want to come off mute, just come off mute and ask me a question. Nobody has any.
So far, I don't have any outstanding questions in the Q&A. I think, Melissa said that she loves that question about what had them think about what, I think you had asked, what made you think about our salon, or how did you hear about our salon? And so Ruby says, it's amazing and shocked me how many people haven't even checked you out online. So great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nikki. That was so high value. I'm sure everyone loves it. And now there's questions coming in. Go ahead, Nikki.
Quickly, guys, tonight I am doing is it okay if I mention this? It's an Instagram live on flex schedules. So flex schedule concepts for your benefit. So come join us at 5:30 p.m. on Instagram. But
yeah, wonderful. Ruby asks, when is the other class you were talking about, Nikki? I think she probably means cash flow camp. Yeah, and that's January 19th to 21st. Yeah. And we will have some info about that shortly.
I can tell them about.
Go ahead, Lauren.
I can certainly talk to them about that. So Meadow, you had told me that we have some people asking for the QR code again.
Yes. Yeah. We just to opt in to get the handouts that Nikki is talking about, the recording from today and the November 4th webinar. We've had some folks ask about that, Lauren. So if you could let them know how
I am putting it up here right now so that they can get it again. I believe I need to do a screen share. That would probably help.
Yes.
I want to throw in one thing really quickly. Just to set realistic expectations here. I don't want you guys to feel overwhelmed. Know that to get your interview process to be like a well-oiled machine, it takes months of coaching to really get you there. I mean, this is not something that, I know we kind of wing it and we kind of do it, and you guys do a great job at it because obviously you're very sharp, but I think that the game that we're playing now requires such high level of operations in this category. I think it's very important that you really develop a very structured and very polished presentation of your company.
Okay, Miss Meadow, thank you so much, my beautiful and fabulous Nikki Lee. And so on this QR code, know that you're going to get the recording of, so you've had a salon walkout, now what? And then you're also going to get this recording. You're going to get the handouts that Nikki's been showing. Those will be on there, as well as the 12 pages I'm providing for you to write your unbelievable vision statement with everything you need to set you up to win for that. So if you haven't already done so, Nick, I was informed somehow you did the wrong QR code. If you want to take a picture of this, you got to raising your prices and we're not sure how you did that. Also, champions, if you want a call with us, we're here for you. You can use this QR code and you can schedule a call with us. And we'll be glad to support you in any way we can to really get you prepared to launch into the new year. And, speaking of the new year, how many of you are aware there's only 44 days left? Is anyone besides me like blown away by that? Like it's time to buy the turkeys. I already ordered mine, my ham and my turkey. So there's 44 days left, but here's the $1,000,000 question. How many of you want 2025 to look different than 2024? Go to the chat box. How many of you want 2025 to look different than 2024? And so for those of you that that's what you truly desire, as the owner, we have to have the wisdom to know what we know, but to also know what we don't know. To know, where do I need to get more skill? Where do I need to get more knowledge? Where do I need to increase my abilities as a salon owner? Because I know most of you salon owners, bless you. I mean, you wear a lot of hats. Most of you are parents. You have a significant other. Many of you have children. Many of you work behind the chair in the treatment room, and then you run and manage a salon and your people. And I'm like, to me, you are like heroes. You wear the Superwoman and the Superman cape beautifully, and I commend you. But where are you going to get your soul fed? Where are you going to put the oxygen mask on you? Where are you going to get the skills and the knowledge and the tools to really take things to the next level? Because as owners, we have to do that, because we're just depleted by everything going on in our life. And so someone already asked, but for those of you who truly want 2025 to be your best year ever, we have our new content coming out at Cash Flow Camp on January 19th, 20th, and 21st. It'll be in Tampa, Florida. And Meadow, if you want to put up on the screen for us, that would be fantastic. And I just want you to know that Cash Flow Camp isn't for everybody. It is for owners, or if you have a manager that's instrumental in the hiring process, or HR, or doing your inventory or your payroll. Oh my gosh. If you have other business partners, all business partners have to come together. We would do you a huge disservice if you weren't both or all of you there. And so it's for owners who want to take control of their salon's financial future. It's an immersive. It is not listening to someone for 3 days. You will have no opportunity to check out and go to Aruba in your head. You are fully immersed and experience designed to empower. We're there to empower and equip you with skills, tools, and proven strategies. We're going to work on mastering the cash flow management. By the end, some of you may go, I'd rather stick needles in my eyes than look at a financial statement. But at the end of the day, that's our roadmap. That tells us where change must happen. And so by the end of it, I'll be able to hand you 5 from different salons. And I want you to imagine this. Imagine me handing you 5 salons you don't know, and be able to look at us and in 5 minutes say, here's what's working and here's what's not in their business. Can you do that for your own business right now? Can you do that for someone else's? And the reality is, we have come to find out that most tax preparers, most CPAs, I want to say, most CPAs and bookkeepers aren't even doing your P&Ls correctly. So you're going to learn how to make sure they're correct, the cash flow management, the profit, everything around profit to build a sustainable business that's thriving in today's economy. In addition to all the financial growth, we're going to cover compensation. You'll get the full experience of building your dream team from A to Z. You know, retail is your highest profit margin. It far exceeds any profit you're making on services. Well, what if we could show you how to increase it 300 to 1,000% or more without relying on your team? And so with the refreshed content for 2025 that we're so excited about, Nikki Lee, Lance Courtney, Heather Goodwin, Randy Rose, the top financial expert in this industry, we're all going to be there. And we're going to take you to new heights. That's our job. It's to elevate your success, to give you the clarity, the confidence, and the systems you need to soar as an extraordinary business person. So you may come a technician, but you will go home a business person. You can wave goodbye to the way it's looked, and you can wave hello to the future I think all of you want. And so, Miss Meadow, did you put up the link? There it is. So that QR code, it's the holiday sale. You lucked out, it started today. And so the holiday sale, Cashflow Camp is $18.99 for the first ticket and $8.99 for each additional ticket if you have another business partner or if you want to bring your significant other. On the holiday sale, the first ticket, we are reducing it by $500. So it'll be $13.99, and you can go on to this QR code. You can grab your ticket. We do have a few seats left, and we would love for you to join us. So we'll just end by seeing, are there any last minute questions we can address? I don't know about you, Nikki, but I have loved every moment of this time with these incredible human beings.
I always love joining you on any kind of webinar, any kind of thing.
Oh, thank you, Nikki. It really is a lot of fun. So do we see, Meadow, are there any questions in the chat box? We have a couple of minutes left here. We can still answer if we have time.
Yeah, I think Tyrone asked again, about how to get access to Nikki's great materials. So you want to follow
Really?
that. Go ahead.
As I send it over as we speak so that you can send it to them as soon as you can.
That's right. And in order to access it, we'll be putting it on your own private My Account page. So you want to register for that page. And I am going to put that link again in the chats for you right now.
Yeah, that's where everything is going to live for you that you can access 24/7. And so it will be accessible to you 24/7 along with the recordings and the recording we did 2 weeks ago. And we just want to say, I honor you for the courage, the strength, the tenacity, the unstoppable spirit it takes to be a business owner. Not everyone could do it. And trust me, if everyone could, everyone would own a business. It is the hardest thing any of us will ever do, but it can also be the most rewarding when we know how to do it and do it correctly so we thrive versus survive. So we would love to be a part of your amazing journey in 2025. We will be cheering you on to your grandest goals and dreams. We actually believe you deserve it. We believe you deserve to have the greatest success. And I see we have a lot of our graduates that joined us today. So thanks for being a part of the Inspiring Champions family. Any last minute words from you, Miss Nikki?
No, I just wanted to really express my gratitude for allowing me the opportunity to work together with Inspiring Champions. And it's such an amazing company to work with. And I love bringing the salon owners that really join on into the Inspiring Champions family are just very serious and not serious like, not fun serious, fun serious. But,
We're serious about the business.
but just
But take us out to dinner and you'll get fun in neon lights and capital letters.
Right. So it's such a great family to be a part of, and Cashflow Camp is by far, as someone that has been to all of these kinds of events, just an incredible amount of content, especially to help give you confidence around the financial pieces of it. And I'm just very privileged that I get to share some of my information there as well with these incredible business owners. So thank you so much for everybody for taking the time today. I know it's time out of your day and it's very precious to us. So just love it so much. Thank you. And I'm here to help, and we are here to help whenever you need. So
thank you. Thank you, everyone, and have an amazing holiday season. I hope it is just abundantly blessed with fun, with relaxation, with people you love, and the best memories of all. So we appreciate you, we value you, we honor you, and we look forward to serving you in the new year. Mwah. Bye, everybody.